past two matches haven't been the best passing. I mean, how is that a more reflection of who you played than what your team is doing?
Yeah, I mean, we're putting up some pretty incredible numbers, so I'm not too concerned about passing. I think we're playing some great jump servers. I think passing stats can be skewed certain ways if you want to justify them. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I think it's like the only thing that people are like nitpicking us about, and we're setting records offensively, and Bergen's playing great. So,
is what Bergen's doing making this offense passing proof almost, or?
I just think Bergen's playing great, and ace again heavily skews. So we were talking about if we get aced, there's no offensive number with that. So, I think that helps our offensive numbers. It's just a point.
How much can you use this past week of upsets around the country as a teaching point or a message going forward?
But we probably won't talk about it a whole lot. Again, we're pretty focused on ourselves, and that's been really impressive. What this team has done has just been focused on getting better here and there, competing with each other, not taking opponents for granted, which, I do think there's teams like Oregon is a good example. They're much better than their record, and they can play very clean and got some great players. So I think our players understand how thin the line is this year and every year in volleyball. Like, there's players all over the country that can take over matches and can get hot, and you can find yourself in a pretty tough situation really quick in our sport.
Hitting over 300 in all these matches lately, is that still impressive to you, or is that what you should expect with the talent on the team and the experience on the team?
No, I think it's still really impressive. No matter who you are, that's hard to do sometimes on an open net, and the fact that we've been able to do it consistently, should give us a ton of confidence. But yeah, with the talent on this team, the way Bergen's playing, and the way we can, get everybody involved and run such a balanced offense, we should expect to hit for a high number. But over 300 is really good this many consecutive matches.
Bergen was just named Co-Big Slayer of the Week for maybe third time or fourth time? Third time. What has she done the past couple of weeks that maybe has taken her game that much to the next level?
I don't really know if she's done much different. I think she's making read decisions like she was early. She's blocking balls. She's being aggressive. I think she's done a great job of following the game plans. So you can see some games we're setting a certain position a little more. Some days she's more aggressive, attacking. So she's done a really good job of, again, following a game plan and just being able to excel in that, which I think can be tough, where you can get really comfortable doing the same thing over and over, but to switch it from game to game like she's been, and that's what makes her unpredictable, and what makes us unpredictable, is because we're not doing the same thing every single match.
Andy kind of gave you some pretty high remarks about kind of re-emphasizing to smell the roses and just celebrate tough wins in the Big Ten, not just looking at it from an undefeated standpoint. I guess, where does that coaching philosophy come from, and how do you see it kind of transcend the players' moods after some of these matches?
Well, it's really tough to win no matter what level, what sport, and we never want to lose sight of that, and that's something that I've always been a firm believer in. I also am a firm believer, like, we spend a lot of our time together and a lot of our time with our sport, and if we can't enjoy it and celebrate little things, then we're going to drive ourselves crazy, and that's when burnout comes in, and when in December you're relieved the season's over. And I don't want our players to walk out of here ever being relieved. I want them to feel like they can't wait to be back. So it's just continue to remind them that, and of course we're looking at film and talking to our positions about what we need to do better and how we can get 1 point better, but again, celebrating when we're doing those things, and also letting them have some ownership in what we're doing day to day, I think is really important.
I believe that this is the deepest you've gone in your coach career in a season, staying undefeated.
No.
It's not?
No. We were undefeated until the Final Four. That's all right.
Bad research.
What do you know about Illinois and Minnesota?
I thought Illinois was off to a great start. They actually have a setter that I played against for 2 years who was at Florida State, who I'd kind of define as a baller. She does everything. She's a little bit small, but she's a great setter, great defender, just a great server. They also, have an outside who's playing great. And then Chris and Jen were obviously here with me as assistants, so I think it's always fun to play against people you respect and enjoy. And then Minnesota, obviously the injury, that's what their kind of story was, the injury bug early on, but they're finding ways to win and stay in the top 25 and have one of the best outsides in the entire country, a really good young setter. So I do think they're going to be a challenging team to play, especially on the road. Everybody knows it's hard to play at the PAV.
What do you remember about Chris when you were assistants here, kind of working together?
Him and Jen are really fun people, and I think they have a way to bring out the best in their players. So, I just enjoy, I think he's like a little bit like myself, like gonna enjoy the little things and not take for granted how hard it is to win. And I think he's just does a really good job game planning. So I'm sure he'll have a good scout on us.
Couple more.
Coach, there seems to be games, volleyball matches on just more channels, more options. What does that mean for the sport and women's sports, just sort of the proliferation of volleyball on
Yeah, it's huge. That wasn't too long ago we were begging for this as a coaching group and trying to set up meetings with ESPN and all these big networks of what do we have to do to get on more. And now there's almost like arguments over who has rights to this game and who doesn't. So that, again, huge for our sport, and the fact that it can be on multiple networks all over the country. It's just going to continue to grow, and the viewership continues to go up every single year and every single big match.
This Saturday, I know you guys will be in Minnesota, but there'll be 6 high school state championship matches here at the Bob. Just how special is that for some of the high school athletes here in the state, and will you be kind of keeping an eye on your Freeman Falcons in Class C too?
Yeah, I think it's very, very special to play here, and it was always a big deal. I remember whether it was volleyball, mainly basketball, because I played at Bergen Auditorium in volleyball. But it was like a huge deal to make it to Devaney to play in the state championship for basketball. So now that the volleyball gets to do it, it is really special and exciting, and town's shut down, and it's a big deal. So we'll be keeping an eye on all the classes for sure.
How do you assess how Brennan's been doing calling serves? I mean, have you been helping him out, or you just let him have that?
Pretty much let him do it, but I know him and Jalen will game plan and then share with Kelly and I, so we all have some input, or we might change things in match, like, hey, I want to see this here or that, but pretty much let him do it, and I think he's been doing a great job. And we don't have a ton of aces, but I do feel like our serving has continued to improve week to week and get teams out of system, which is the goal.
Who made you want to assign that responsibility to him?
I basically just asked if Brennan or Kelly who wants to do it, because I'm like, I forget. I'll be in the game and the server will be looking at me like waiting for the call, so I can't do it, or I'll forget from time to time. And Brennan was the first one to say I'd love to do it, so that's what we stuck with.
Bergen's been getting a lot of praise. I guess like if fans want to kind of lock in and study her, see what she's doing in the well, set just specifically to setting, what would you tell them to watch to see what she's doing?
Yeah, I think one of the best things she does right now is just her footwork. She's always in a position to set anywhere, and she's just super, super efficient with her movement. I think that's very underrated talent. She makes things like average passes look like good passes. I also think just her complete game, it's really important as a setter you're out there for 6 rotations, you have to be a leader, so you got to do everything well. It's hard when you have somebody out there that can't block or can't dig and is only a setter. You want them to take ownership of their whole game. So footwork and total package.
Is there a position she's setting better, a set that she's setting better than when you got here?
Not really. I think she's just being really aggressive with everything. Like she'll keep setting the middle no matter where she's at. If somebody's having an off night, she'll continue to find ways to make them great and get them a kill. So I just think she's setting everything pretty well.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.